We are talking about the movie called Sleuth, made in 2007. There's an older version of it, but let's just focus on this more recent version. This movie is a love story, but not in a conventional sense. It is not about two protagonists who are overcoming obstacles and trying to be together. Instead, it's about two protagonists, two men who are fighting each other, and they both want to win the heart of the same woman. So what brings them together is the love of one woman. In the beginning of the movie, these two men, we see them meet for the first time in the big house of the older man. There is a younger man. One of these two men is a younger guy, charming, youthful, attractive, Jude Law. And the other man is an older man. He is a detective mystery, murder mystery novelist, and older but financially very successful, well established, and he's a good provider. He's also a little bit pensive, a little bit bitter and depressive. But what they share in common is that they are both really good conversationalists. They are both very intelligent, very witty, and sharp, both in their observations and in their responses that they give to each other. We don't see the woman, even though she has a central role in the story, but we don't see her. We see some signs of her at the end, and I'll get back to that. If you have not watched the movie, don't watch this, especially if you are not interested in spoilers, because I will spoil. But if you have, or if you're interested in watching the movie and then come back to my review, I'm suggesting that you watch and think about this movie through the lens of a psychological theory. And this is the psychological framework of game analysis or transactional analysis. The author of Transactional Analysis is Eric Berne, who wrote, among other books, this one. What do you say after you say hello? This is by Eric Berne, but he has a more famous book that I use for teaching that is called Games People Play. And it's very nice in its terminology. He uses very simple language like child, parent, adult. And in fact, a central part of that theory, game analysis or transactional analysis, is that every person's mind, let's just focus on this one of the two sides. Every person's mind can be divided into three parts: child, adult, and parent. Adult is the thing that a mature person has. Every person, every adult, every person should at least potentially have access to their adult side, the adult part of their mind. Why? Because it is the adult that faces reality authentically. When you're adult, we see and we get in touch with what is actually there. We don't over-interpret, we don't project our own optimism or pessimism into the situation, into other people. We give other people and situations a chance to present who they actually are to us. And we get to know them, we really get to know someone. That's the ability of an adult. But it takes effort to be an adult. It is not easy. It takes time, it takes energy. So we have two other states of mind. We have what is called a parent. What is a parent? A parent is that part of our mind that is very judgmental and is very controlling and wants to be in charge and wants to judge and control, especially the children in the environment. And every person also has a part of their mind that we can describe. These are ways of describing. We can also describe part of our mind as a child. So everybody has a child inside. And the child is that attitude that wants to be playful, wants to break rules, wants to explore and be childish. Now, what is interesting in this theory is that when two people interact, the parts of their mind that get in touch with each other and interact with each other have to be complementary. They have to match. So an adult can be in contact with an adult, but a parent cannot be in conversation with another parent because a parent is not complemented by a parent. A parent is complemented by a child, and vice versa. If the first person is a child, this person is activating the parent in the other person. So what you see in this story of Sleuth is these two guys who want to be each one of them wants to be dominant over the other one. And being dominant means being the parent. They each want to be the parent, to judge the other person, to be dominant and controlling over the other person, and make the other person submit, to be under their control, to be childish, to say, oh, you can play, you're not responsible for this, you cannot really be with her in the case of the story. And the story is very interesting because they continue to play these games, this adult-child game, and they keep switching. When one of them wins, he is the parent, the other one is the child, and when it switches, then parent-child relationship changes. And being a parent, insisting on being a parent, means that you're pushing the other person into a position of a child. So this is also relevant to positioning theory. When you give yourself the duty and responsibility of parenthood, you're pushing the other person into a child mentality. One of the features of a child is that a child is not free. A child is not supposed to be free. That's why a child is not responsible, based on by definition almost. Okay, now that's the dynamic throughout the story. I want to mention one last thing that happens at the very end of the story. At the very end, we see the woman driving, and the woman is getting close to the scene where the whole story is happening. As the woman is driving and getting closer, the dynamic between the two men is also changing. What is happening is that after hours of conflict and battle with each other, they both get exhausted, these two men. And they give up on the woman. They say, you know what, she's not even worth it. I don't want to be with her. The other guy says, yeah, I also don't want to be with her. So they come up with an arrangement. Something interesting happens between them. They almost become like they form an homoerotic relationship with each other. And the young man starts to charm and seduce the man, say, oh, we don't need her. We can just live together and be together. And the old guy says, oh yeah, you can also be with me. You can move in here and live with me. And I'll take care of you. I'll introduce you to many of my powerful friends, and I'll take you traveling to many different places. And so the old man, charms him with his power and experience, wisdom and money. The young man also complementarily charms the old man by his youthfulness, inexperience, and the youthful charm. But the old man does something. He becomes a real parent and says, you must stay with me. So the ending scene, the ending stage, is where the old man is a parent and the young man becomes a child, becomes a submissive child, and not free, of course, because there are certain rules that he has to follow. My interpretation that I want to suggest you also consider is that the woman, it doesn't just literally arrive at this stage. It means something. What it means is that we don't see the face of the woman. But it is suggested to us that what the woman was, the role that the woman had in the previous relationship, is now re-emerging again. The role of the woman is emerging in the body of the younger man. So a woman, and we get a sense of what her relationship with the older man was actually like. And we get a sense that she wasn't free, and that's why she broke up with her. She broke his heart. She broke the ex-husband's heart. Ex-husband? No, they're still married legally. Anyways, so first time it was the woman who was the child, and she wasn't happy because she wasn't free, and she breaks his heart, the old man's heart. And now it is the second time that somebody else is in the same place, apparently in a loving relationship with this old man, but he also has lost his freedom. In that sense, it's the woman who returns, in spirit and literally. And the second time, something, again, destructive happens. The young man pulls a gun and kills the older man at the end. So this is a love story involving three people, but in fact, it can also be understood as a love story involving the tension between power, submission, domination, and real intimacy and love. And to be really intimate, we need two adults, not a powerful parent and a child who is following the parents' rules. So, very interesting movie psychologically, relevant for understanding positioning theory and Eric Berne's game analysis of games. That's good. Thank you for listening. I'll talk with you soon.